ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I have found the lost island. Well, first off, welcome to another episode of Hashtag The Road. But I have found it. I found Atlantis, or rather, I've still here at Ponta Delgada. My name is Milo Beasley. With 20 plus years in the professional wrestling industry, combined with my love for traveling, I've seen some pretty cool things over the years. Now I bring you along in these travels, as I never know where I'll end up or what I'll see or do along the way. With more than 4 million miles of roadways in the United States alone, we have a lot of ground to cover. So join me, if you will, on Hashtag The Road. But this is where some believe may be the remnants of the lost island of Atlantis. One of those people actually happens to be, you might have heard of him, Plato. Not like the Plato, 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 the philosopher. Wrote a couple books on the subject, including Timaeus, where he describes a cataclysmic event in which Atlantis was lost. This combined with many other stories, articles, surveys going back to the 1800s, a lot of books written about the mountaintops of San Miguel Island, of all 9 of the islands that make up the Azores, being the remnants, the leftovers from what was a mighty powerful advanced civilization that is now lost. So where are they? And there's a ton of things. There's settlements that have been discovered that date back to before 1432, when these islands were first founded, right? I couldn't think of the word. I don't know what the word. Discovered. That's the word. When these islands were first discovered, there's things that date back before that. So, as my pants are falling down, pardon, I had to pull those up. There's been many books dating back to the 1800s, and of course, one famous book, Timaeus, that was written for 350 BC, was it something around there? And in that book, he describes these cataclysmic events that we're going to keep repeating that word because it's very important. We're going to cross the road here. Hold on, we're going to cross the road. He describes these events and the reason why we no longer have Atlantis, right? And things just kind of go hand in hand. Keep in mind, this was 350 BC, and these islands weren't discovered until 1432, right? So quite a few years before. So did Plato know about the Azores? I mean, he knew about something. He wrote about volcanoes and hot springs and cold springs, which, guess what, are huge tourist destinations now here in the Azores. So whether or not you want to believe Plato, whether or not you want to believe my boy Ignatius, we'll talk about him soon, whether you don't want to believe these people, there's a lot of things that kind of add up to this being the lost city of Atlantis. So let's go dive in. And that's exactly what I'm literally diving into this project. Well, actually, I just wanted an excuse to go swimming in this inlet in Ponta Delgada. And it's clear it's too shallow for there to be anything here related to Atlantis. But if swimming in the ocean in Europe is something that I have to do for Hashtag The Road, I mean, I guess I'll do it.
Subdivided into several.
So now we're on a bus from the port to the tippy top
of the Azores. And while Ponta Delgado and the Azores may look flat from here, I promise you, it is anything but.
And we're actually on top of an active volcano right now. Like we're on an active volcano. So I don't know how I feel about that.
Several towns have actually made their homes on these volcanic basins. Not for me, bro.
In fact, the 1980 Washington Post article was titled Sao Miguel, Misty Fragments of Atlantis. So are these mountaintops?
And in this Washington Post article, author David Yeadon says most Azoreans have no doubts on the matter at all as far as the Azores being Atlantis. Oh, I guess there may be some of you out there that are like, where exactly are the Azores that you keep talking about? Well, these islands, 9 islands in total, are roughly 800 miles off the coast of Portugal. Basically, they are the Hawaii of Portugal. But their location is what makes these theories seem possible. You see, Plato said that these islands, or that the island of Atlantis, was situated in front of the straits by which you call the Pillar of Heracles. Of course, the Pillars of Heracles are what we call the Straits of Gibraltar. And then another passage says, it could be reached through other islands, and from those islands you might pass through the opposite continent. That opposite continent? America. So it's saying you could go from Europe to these islands to America. So these islands, the island of Azores, the island of Atlantis, is situated between Europe and America.
In an 1882 article, U.S. Senator, actually, Ignatius, love the name Ignatius, Donnelly, wrote, again, in an 1882 book that the Azores could be the location of the mythological Atlantis.
Ignatius's book, Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, is considered a starting point for anybody interested in the myth of Atlantis.
And now we're actually inside the active volcano, which is fine. This is fine, right? Remember that cataclysmal event that Plato talked to? Kind of. All this used to just be one giant mountain, and then, of course, a cataclysmic event, as Plato says. Well, at least Atlantis, given that if this was Atlantis, this would have been a giant mountaintop, which it was, hit by a cataclysmic event, volcano, which it was, which collapsed into itself, which it did. So, was Plato's story and Timaeus about Atlantis, about this place that had a downfall, was this here?
But there's a lot of things that add up when comparing the stories of Plato and the actual history here of the Azores. More specifically here in Sao Miguel Island. One of Plato's passages reads, "But then there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of rain, all the men in a body sank into the earth, and the island of Atlantis, in like manner, disappeared beneath the sea. And there are remaining in small inlets only the bones of the wasted body, the mere skeleton of the country being left." So is this here just the skeleton, the bones of Atlantis?
And even like 12 years ago, 2013, some fishermen literally right out there, not like right out there. Oh, that looks like rain. Anyway, some fishermen right out there, right between the islands of Sao Miguel and Terceira. I may be butchering the name, but between these two islands, some fishermen just 40 feet below sea level, just 40 feet below sea level, found a pyramid. They found a freaking pyramid that was 200 feet high. So 200 feet high, 86,000 square feet of a pyramid that the Portuguese government was like, that's not real. And they've said nothing about it for 12 years. It's a pyramid. Anyway, let's keep going. Look at this boat out here. I'm pretty sure that might be pirates. Jack Sparrow, is that you? Anyway, wrong island. We got to get back to the mountains. So this view means one thing, that we're back on top of the volcano. So we started down there, all the way down there, and now we're at the very tippy top, the peak of these Azores mountains on San Miguel, Ponta Delgada. So, are we standing on Atlantis? In Atlantis? I mean, I can't answer that question for you. I mean, I tried to be like, hey, this is Atlantis, which very well, I mean, could it be? Could Plato be right some 20, almost 2,500 years ago? Could Plato be right about this being Atlantis? I mean, but he didn't even know this place existed. He just theorized that it existed, and it exists. Anyways, so thank you for watching this episode of Hashtag The Road here from Atlantis, or is it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Hashtag The Road.